Welcome. This is the enrichment elective session using tech and data to connect to members. My name is Bob Kimsel and I am the CFO at JCC Association North America. This session is being recorded. If you do not wish to be recorded, you may turn off your camera, though we encourage everyone who is comfortable doing so to stay visible so we can feel as if we all are together. If this is not the session you intended to join, return to Spot Me and select a different session. Joining me today is Steve Engel, Camp Engagement Consultant at JCC Association. Steve will be helping me in providing tech support during this session. Our names appear as hosts at the top of your participant list. You can chat with either of us to address any needs or questions. We aspire for every person to feel they belong at ProCon 21 and are working to build inclusive spaces in which all people feel welcome, respected, safe, and fully included. We invite you to rename yourself in Zoom with your name, agency, and if you're comfortable, adding your preferred personal pronouns. We have enabled closed captioning, which you can disable if you would like, using the button on the bottom toolbar. Please reach out to Steve or me in chat if there's anything we can do to enhance your learning experience. ProCon 2021 is the largest JCC movement gathering ever, and we so appreciate the generous support of our sponsors, which allowed it to be offered at no cost to JCCs. More than sponsors, though, these companies and organizations are truly our partners, and their representatives are deeply invested in the JCC movement. And our speaker today is certainly a great example. Rachel Koretsky is the founder and CEO of Upace, the #1 mobile app for member experience and reservations platform for recreation centers, specializing in JCCs, YMCAs, and Parks and Recreation. You can see her full bio in Spot Me. What you won't see in her bio is that she grew up going to a JCC and JCC summer camps, which influenced her mission to help JCCs thrive and continue to remain the hub of the community. Today, she is here to speak to us about using technology and data to transform how your JCC connects with members. I think we're going to hold questions until the end, but you can feel free to put your questions in chat to everyone, and we will handle them at the end. And Rachel, you can take it away.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction and having me as a speaker today. Thank you for all the attendees. I think we have 78 people in the room and more people are joining us. Anyone who just joined, feel free to introduce yourself on the chat. Put something that you're looking forward to getting out of the presentation for today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so everyone should see my screen. If someone could just give me like a thumbs up or yay that it worked on this first time. Good, I see a thumbs up. So thank you for that. So welcome, and again, thank you for joining us on the last day 3, final day of JCC ProCon. We are so excited to be here today to talk through using technology and data on how to connect to members. Any questions that you have throughout, feel free to throw them into the chat. We're going to get to most of them towards the end, but we'll be trying to monitor them throughout if we're able to get to any of them during the presentation. So please use that chat functionality. I want to help make sure this presentation you're able to learn, connect, as well as anyone in the room. Feel free to answer any of those questions in the chat as well as we go through, as we have so much that we're able to learn and grow from each other. So first, my name is Rachel Koretsky. I want to introduce myself. I am the founder and CEO of Upace. We develop mobile technology all around member engagement and reservations to streamline how you connect and engage and retain your members. Over the past 6 years, we worked closely with JCCs, YMCAs, Parks and Recreation, and you name it, on how do you transform member experience with utilizing technology. Over the course of the last year, with everything with the pandemic and what's been going on in the world, we've been working with about 70 different recreation centers on how to use technology in this new space with COVID tracing, but also what do these next steps look like and how does technology continue to engage in this new environment. And I have to start by saying and sharing my JCC experience, why this is so important to me to be a speaker and sponsoring the JCC conference here at Upace is because of my personal experience growing up outside of Philadelphia. My parents instilled the values of Jewish learning and Jewish community through having me attend JCC along with my sister. That means summer camp, dance, gymnastics, Jewish learning programs. And that's been so a part of my Jewish identity and the Jewish identity that my husband and I want to do as we create our next steps in our family, and creating lifelong friendships with people that were from my JCC days of summer camp and dance. And that's why it's so important, and especially in this conversation today, and how it's really our mission to help JCCs not only survive, but also thrive in the midst of this new environment coming out of the pandemic, to remain as the hub of the community. Now, 2020, you can't have a presentation without talking about what the last year has done for all of us. It has showed us that we need to be ready for change at all times, that we need to be ready to innovate, and we need to be ready to be creating new opportunities for the JCC. But what it also showed us is how crucial technology is to keep you seated, even if that chair feels like it's being pulled out from underneath you, and that you need to be ready for the challenges and transformations that are ahead that are needed for members. The first challenge we want to identify is that 59% of Americans say they don't plan to renew their memberships after COVID. We must ask ourselves, how do we get valued members back off of being hold who are on canceled? How do we keep our current members engaged? And how do we get new members to come into our JCCs? And one of the things that to understand this, we must remember why members might be hesitant to return. Things that we're hearing is that there's no wait times of working out at home. You don't have to commute. You don't have to worry about cleanliness. You could avoid crowds. You don't have to worry about childcare if you have children, or maybe that they weren't feeling a connection to the community before. So now we have to ask ourselves, is looking at these reasons why members are hesitant, is how do we bring members back in, give them this engaging experience to connect to the competitive, so that not only do we stay competitive in that mix of that 59% of getting them to come back to our facilities, but thriving. And in order to do that, we're also seeing now your members are expecting and are saying that 63% of Americans want their gym membership to include a mix of working out at home as well as in the physical facility. Now, what does this mean? Is that virtual is here to stay. Members now want, need, and I even want to say demand 24/7 access anywhere, anytime to your communities. But what does this also tell us is that members miss connection, motivation, and engagement. And what those three words really mean to me is community. And that is something that is so unique about JCCs, how you're able to bring people together. You're helping people create lifelong friendships. You're able to have the motivation of your peers, your trainers, your instructors, your staff, the diversity of what you offer, the ability to grab food at the J Cafe or to grab coffee with someone, and of course the extras of pools, saunas, racquetball courts, tennis courts that you offer beyond maybe what a traditional gym experience. However, that's not enough. What is community plus technology. Technology is the bridge that is needed to drive community connections and engagement. And the technology that we're focusing on today is engagement and reservation technologies via mobile and web, the ability to use technology to communicate with members, easy access through technology to virtual programming and recorded classes, and technology that could easily adapt to ever-evolving changes that might be happening in the industry, whether that's with your memberships or whether that's your programs, that allows for continuous updates and changes and allows you to evolve. Technology and data will transform your JCC. And just to repeat that, the technology and data is this transformation that we're going to cover today. And it's never been so important to use technology and data around these three key main points: connecting with your members, bringing them back into your facility, meaning both in person and virtual, enhancing your member experience, meaning making it effortlessly for members to access programs and services they want and need, and keeping members retained, making sure that they are staying engaged and identifying when to re-engage them. This will allow you to go from not having the right connection points and data to understand how to use it for connections, of not only just making a connection, but making a connection at the right point and at the right time. Your members are going to feel heard, supported, and a part of your community. But in order to make these connections, it is all about data and the technology that we use to collect the data. And when we go through this next phase of the presentation, the data we're referring to is member check-in. So understanding your members and checking into your facility and even checking out. So how long are they staying? Member usage, where are they going inside your four walls? Are they going to Zumba? Are they going to swim? Are they using your tennis court or your basketball court? Member attendance, how often is a member attending? Are they coming on average 2 times a week, 5 times a week? Does that differ by membership level or by how long they've been a member? And creating those patterns. And lastly, facility usage patterns, meaning how often are people in your popular classes, your usage of programs, when are you most crowded, when are you least crowded? And these are the data collection that you need to start thinking about as a part of your facility today in order to have 3 transformations with technology. This data will allow us to go through the 3 things, which are connecting with your community anywhere, effective targeted communication, and data to make informed decision. So to start off, connect with your community anywhere. Your member connection now needs to expand beyond your 4 walls. It is necessary to connect with your community anywhere, anytime, whether they're at home, sitting on the couch, they're traveling with their family to Puerto Rico, or they're working on an assignment in the office. Members want to be connected with you and have the options. You could do this through mobile applications as well as responsive websites that provides members access to JCCs directly on their phones. That's where members are at. They're on their phones. And just think about your everyday life. Typically, everyone has their phone. And I'm sure if you look to the right, to the left of you, or front, your phone's next to you. So we leverage that as your ability to connect with your community on ways that they're connecting with their friends, their family, and utilizing that every single day. Give them access to easy information at their fingertips, give them reminders, and have them be able to participate in your programs. And that goes with the second point of virtual. As we stated that statistic at the beginning, 63% of Americans say they don't want virtual and in person in order to return. That's a staggering number of what members want, and what they're telling you is they want that option that they could decide in the moment what they feel comfortable with that day. That could be COVID, maybe their child is sick at home, or they have a huge assignment and they don't have time to make that commute to get to the facility. So giving them that option to still be able to connect, to take that workout class, or maybe you have virtual programs for Jewish education or Jewish learning that they could put on for their children, you're able to have that. So you're allowing your members to connect inside and outside of your facility by giving them easy access to virtual on their phone via your website that they could connect. But what we've also found is this virtual programming can lead to gaining new members back into your door, as well as having members come back and then eventually upgrade back in. We're seeing, for example, JCC Buffalo, they launched back in September a $14.99 a month virtual membership program. What this allowed us for is a member who was canceled or on hold, virtual member, to feel that connection again with those instructors, to see the other people that are in the room. One thing that they did for their older adult classes, they opened the Zoom room 10 minutes before. So that way they were able to just have communication before the class started. You could see that friendly face. You could ask them how their grandkids are doing and have that conversation of people are missing that community. And as now people are getting vaccinated, especially within that age demographic, they're finding those members are now coming back and upgrading back to coming live in person. So what it allowed for them was to continue that connection over the past year and then have them coming back once they feel comfortable coming back into the facility. So it can also be used as a revenue generator. The second thing is effective targeted communication. So now I'm going to throw out a question to everyone in the group. How many times do you think you see a marketing message in a given day? You could come off mute, you could put it in the chat. How many times do you think you get a marketing message thrown out at you? Carla said 50 plus. Jason said 200. Eric, 168. It's way up, guys. Robin, too many to count. Okay. Anyone else? We'll give it another minute here. Rachel Riley said a lot. So yes, completely right. So on average, what the research shows that a typical member will get somewhere between 3,000 to 20,000 marketing messages towards them every day. So again, 3,000 to 20,000. And that range is so huge because it depends definitely on the member, how often they are on Twitter, if they're driving and maybe seeing billboards or what they're doing on a given day. But the lowest typically per day of what you see marketing messages are 3,000. So just imagine that you're competing with your communication to every of your members of them getting messages from Target, Nordstrom's, you name it, coming into their email inbox, coming onto their phone if they're on Twitter or Instagram, and you want them to pay attention to you. And that's why it's so important that you look at technology and data on how you could do this effective targeted communication. And the first time is that you need to give them real-time access to what's going on in the facility. You want them to not necessarily get this updates and information on social media or having to go to your website. You want to give them this information on their phone at their fingertips. That could be reservations, your hours, schedules, or closures. So let's say, for example, we heard this from a JCC this week, they had a power failure happen and some of the facility would not be utilized and some of the facility could. Imagine how frustrating that is for a member to get to the facility to find out they can't go into the pool today. Imagine how much better that is if you send a message to those particular members who are planning on going to the pool today saying, hey, this is what happened. I'm sorry, the pool is now closed due to this reason, but we have a Zumba class you could take instead, or we have space in the fitness center that you could do a workout in, or come tomorrow at this same time, we have the space open and we'll make sure it's available to you. Versus them coming in and finding out the hard way. That experience is drastically different. Well, members will appreciate your ability to connect directly with them on what they care about, what they're planning on doing at your JCC, and making sure that if they can't have that experience they want for that day, they could find out before they go, or you could recommend other programming that they could access into that day. The second piece is push notifications and alerts. We send emails, we put out messages on our website, but the power of push notifications and alerts is that it's clear and concise messaging. You're sending a message within 2 to 3 sentences maximum, and that goes directly to their phone, just like a text message would be. It shows that you're able to communicate. If I'm sitting home in my couch, you could send me a message about a free chair massage that you might be putting out for all the members that I'm able to make a reservation for, or that you made a shift from doing individual lap lanes to shared lap lanes. So it makes it easy for members to know what's going on and that they'll feel appreciated. But the most powerful thing about push notifications that we see is that they have a 90% open rate. So I challenge you to go back and look at your emails and what you might be sending to the whole. See if you get those numbers 90%, because the 90% of everyone of your population to read something is extremely powerful of the messages that you might be putting out to them. So that way, if they're getting 3,000 to 20,000 of those marketing messages per day, you're the one that they actually paid attention to, and you're the one that they read and knew exactly what was going on. Now, lastly is targeted emails. Mass emails are ineffective. And I'm just going to repeat that again. Mass emails are just ineffective of sending always a mass email to the whole community. A lot of us might be using MailChimp, ConvertKit, so many platforms out there that allow you to send emails. But where these technology platforms are really powerful is that your ability to segment this data to be able to send targeted emails. So sometimes it's great to send a whole email out to the community if it's a monthly newsletter about everything that's going on in the JCC, or a marketing message that needs to go out to everyone. But you want to make sure when you're sending these emails that your members are reading them and that they feel heard and that they feel listened to. So I want to share a couple different examples for this an example. On the right-hand side, this was an email I recently got from a local studio. So imagine instead of sending an email to your whole community that you added in 10 new group exercise classes this week that you're offering, you send that email to everyone who's attended a group exercise class in the last 3 months. You know that those members are the ones who are participating, they're the ones attending, and they're going to feel acknowledged or heard, or they might even asked for more group exercise classes or a particular class to be added to the schedule. So take that targeted data, look at what members are doing inside your facility, and then, send that particular email. Another example is, let's just say you're moving from individual lap lanes to shared lap lanes. Instead of sending that mass email of that change to your whole community, send that type of email to the people the last 3 months who've been swimming in your pool, coming every week and using that reservations, and make sure that subject line and information is targeted to them for them to know they're getting this information because you know that's what they're doing inside your facility. They're going to feel so much more appreciated and so much specialer that you want to make sure that they know something of a change that's happening that could benefit them or change their experience at the JCC. Now, the image to the left is an example birthday message. So for example, I have my birthday coming up in May 12th. So coming soon. And one of the things that makes you feel so special is when you get that email saying, happy birthday, or we have a special birthday reward for you coming up. And making those members feel special is something so crucial that you could do through these emails. Things like birthday messages, if they reached a goal that they set and that you're able to look at it in the data. And that's going to be a part of our next about using data to utilize this. But think about emails, push notifications, and the way that you communicate with members, and use data to do effective communication, because that's how your members will feel special and extremely connected to your community. And this last transformation is all around data. Data is this crucial last step of what you're able to do to ensure that you're having this direct connected membership experience. So with that, the first part that you could do with data is making internal decisions. So we talked about getting data around facility check-in, facility usage, member attendance, member engagement. And what you're able to do is utilize this if you wanted to do identifying staffing requirements based upon usage patterns, identifying what classes are the most popular, or removing low attendance. And when you're looking at making these decisions, think about how you are connecting with your members every day coming into your facility. Think about it in the way, for example, with group exercise, if you have a popular class that's continuously reserved out 48 hours in advance, or you have a walk-in line of people wanting to come, maybe you add that in as another class within the schedule and you remove a different class that has lower attendance. Or vice versa, a class that has lower attendance, maybe it's the time of the class, maybe it's the way that you're promoting that class, and you could utilize technology as a tool to market folks who might be interested or who have attended it before. You can look at feedback that members have provided for this class and see what is ranking. Maybe the music was too loud, or maybe the attendees didn't like the music, that you could see this in feedback and ranking and comments and make strategic suggestions to the instructor to see that coming up. So it's looking at this data with the eyes of community engagement. The second piece of data to look at is tracking membership engagement levels. And what that means is looking at how often a member is going. It's understanding that on average, Rachel goes 2 times a week, and maybe Chris, he goes 5 times a week. It's sending these motivational messages, rewards, challenges, and automating that in the system. So for example, what we've seen is, as a JCC, you could say, we want on average our members to come 3 times a week. That is our goal. And we're going to encourage our members to hit that 3 times a week goal and look at our data to send those motivational messages, whether that's through a targeted email, whether that's through our front desk staff, or whether that's through push notifications and alerts. You're able to encourage those goals and send motivational messages, or even offer a reward. If you hit 3 times a week for a full month, you're going to win a t-shirt or a water bottle or something special. And it's going to have your member feel so much connected and engaged back to your facility because you're a part of them reaching their goals. The second important piece of tracking membership engagement levels is identifying different membership levels. So one of the most crucial things is when a new member joins, you want to make sure that they're making a reservation, that they're coming each week. And you want to ensure that you're able to see that and track that. And if a member who's new, or maybe a member that's about to auto renew, or their renewals are up, that you're seeing their engagement levels and that you're able to ensure that they're still coming back to ensure that they continue to stay as a loyal member for you. And the third component is identifying at-risk members. The beauty of having data, of understanding what a member is doing inside and outside of your facility, as well as how often they're coming, is you can then identify when a member becomes at risk. So that could be something that you could say, if they don't come for 4 weeks, you identify them at risk, and then you have a plan to kind of re-engage them back. That could be sending you a "we miss you" message. That could be picking up the phone and calling them. But what you want to do is have these statistics that you know internally of how you identify at risk. So when you're looking at the data, you're looking at it strategically to pull out those members who fit those target range, as well as you want to make recommendations that are specific to the member on how to bring them back. So you might want to look at the data for a member and say, she typically goes to 1 group exercise class a week, which is yoga. So that could be a recommendation if I'm picking up the phone and calling this member, that I say, hey, Bob, I see you're typically going to yoga 1 time a week. There's a class tomorrow at 1 p.m. Would that be something that you're willing to kind of come back to and see? So you're going to call them to kind of tell them that you miss them, but also make a recommendation of what program or what access to the facility could re-engage them back in to get them to step back foot in the door. And the last component of this is looking at any type of member feedback and member surveys, that before you kind of communicate with them again, is see if they gave you any feedback. Did they rank a reservation they take as a 1 star? Look at the comment they gave and identify these things before they get to a member that's at risk. So also have a feedback or survey that's putting out every day after they leave your JCC and saying, how was it? Rank your experience 1 to 5, leave a comment. And internally, if you have 1 to 2 stars, have that trigger another email that goes out to them and say, tell me more, what happened? And if it happens consistently, pick up the phone, call those members, figure out how do you give them that best experience. It could be something small that you're able to do to make that change. Now, with that data, there's so much you could do, and I know I just threw a lot at you. So I want to go through 3 different ways that you could leverage your data and start doing that and take that to your JCC on Monday. So this is an example from AP JCC out in California. What they do is they use their reservation check-in data to engage with their They set the goal that they want a member to come 3 times a week. If they hit that 3-time
Rachel,
target every Friday, they send them a message.
Rachel, I don't know if you just want to repeat that, what they do, because your audio went out a little bit. If you just go back, I don't.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Thank you, Bob. So yes, so I want to show you 3 ways of how you're able to leverage this data and technology to start making those transformations coming to your facility on Monday. So one of the first examples is engaging with your members who achieve goals. This is an example of what APJCC does. They're JCC out in California. They set a goal that for a member, they want to come 3 times a week. Doesn't matter what they're doing inside the facility, just 3 check-ins a week. They trigger an email that goes out every Friday that says awesome work to those members who completed their check-in 3 or more times. And what's really cool about it is they have a staff member who does a thumbs up, a high five. This is a static image, but the email is actually a meme of the person kind of doing the thumbs up like this. And that's their little bit of a reward. And members have started to communicate and talk to each other, and it's become an incentive of, I need to hit the goal so I see what the email is this week or what staff member is being highlighted. And it's created this community around check-ins and emails and attendance and coming. And that's so powerful. And having that member feel proud to receive that email. It's something easy to be able to put out, easy to take an export of data and then put in those email addresses into your provider if you're using a MailChimp, a ConvertKit, and sending this type of email that makes a member feel extremely connected to your facility. The second way is creating in-person moments. That could be an in-person moment when you're checking into the facility, when you're taking a group exercise class, working with a personal trainer. The first example is using our first names, helping the staff members use technology to remember the name of the person. If it's their birthday, to say happy birthday in person upon their check-in and say, welcome, happy birthday. If they hit their goal of 3 check-ins each week, to mention that in person. Sometimes that helps with the motivation if someone else overhears it and they want to have that experience too, or it makes someone proud that they hit the goal that you're setting for them or that they might have set for themselves as well. If it's their first time coming to the JCC, having that group exercise instructor, the front desk staff, just say welcome. Let me know if you have any questions. We're here to support you. Welcome to the JCC family. A huge thing is if it's their first spin class, let me figure out how to help you set up on the bike. Making people feel welcome and connected is something so crucial that your technology and data could help you do, because with the technology, you have this data. You can know if it's their birthday today. You can know if they hit their 3 check-ins. So encourage your staff to utilize that to communicate in person with them, because that's what's going to make them remember this information that they're doing. And the last point with this is if your data is able to show you if someone hasn't engaged with you, of being able to say to them, we missed you lately, is everything okay? Asking those type of questions in person also makes that person feel like, oh, they remembered I haven't been here. Maybe I was traveling for work or I had a family member who was sick, and I'm able to share that experience and share that with that appropriate staff person and make that connection. So think about this, about using data to also facilitate in-person moments that connect the member to your community. And lastly, ways to leverage your data. We want you to start making decisions. So no more guesswork, and make decisions around connecting to members. Go back and think through what we talked about at the beginning of the concerns people having for returns. We heard wait times, overcrowded gym, cleanliness, and use your technology not only to solve them, but communicate that with your current members and the ones you're looking to re-engage about how your technology serves each concern. For example, for wait times, just say to come into the pool, you're able to make a reservation so you know you're getting into the pool at 10 a.m. on lap lane number 1. If people are concerned about crowds, display your facility occupancy, show that you're 50% full, so a member can check before they go and they could find the right time that is working for them. For cleanliness, share what you're doing for cleanliness. Make that clear through your technology of what you're doing. If you have particular makes you different from any other facilities in your area. We challenge you to kind of look through your membership experience beyond just your four walls at the JCC, because community is no longer just inside your facility. Your community now has expanded and needs to go beyond your four walls. You need to be continuously thinking about, with technology and the right data points, to have these connections with the members. At the beginning, I shared the statistic that 59% of members say they will not return to the gym. And I want us to commit here and now that we won't accept that statistic, that together we're going to explore how we're going to use technology and data to better connect to our members, reconnect with them, and transform our membership experiences in and outside of our facility. So I want to take a pause and see if anyone has any questions. Feel free to go off of mute and to raise your hand, or to put them directly in the chat functionality. We have a question coming in from David. In your experience, how many are using Power BI or like this to drive all this data? So Power BI is like a really powerful tool, and they have really great incentives for nonprofits to be able to use it at a lower cost point, or potentially for completely free. And one of the things that Power BI is powerful, because you could automate exporting and importing of data directly to it, and you can create your own graphs and charts and information. So we see a lot of facilities using Power BI around utilizing data and putting it in graphs and charts on dashboards to understand different KPIs that you might be having. So typically the benefit is putting together a couple of KPIs, key performance indicators, and then telling Power BI what you want that to be. So that way they pull out reports and information directly with that. We have a question from Megan. What are your top non-fitness KPIs for JCCs to keep an eye on? So I would say, in terms of non-fitness KPIs or the key performance indicators, to look at overall member engagement. So understanding, member check-ins and putting in the statistics of what you're looking for every day or once a week or once a month, of how often you want your members to be coming to your facility and engaging. And that could be differentiator between live as well as virtual of what you're looking for there. So I would say understanding like your usage patterns with that are going to be the crucial and driving KPIs around that. We have a question from Howard. Would love to know how people connect member data to our CRM to do outreach and marketing. What CRM are people using? So maybe a couple people can put that into our chat. I see Jason just mentioned he uses Salesforce with Traction Rec. I see Diana mentioned Daxco. There's a lot of CRM providers out there. I would say Eric just said Personify. I would say ActiveNet from David. I would say you want to look at CRM providers that allow the integration of data and connection. The most powerful thing is that you want data to stream through all the different technologies that you're using. And what that means is that you want to automate that via an API, which allows real-time connections of the systems to be able to talk and communicate for each other. Because it's really powerful when you keep data in one place. It's very hard when you have data that might be within one system, Excel with another set of data, maybe you have a binder or a couple technologies that you might be using. So think through, how do you streamline technology in order to have all your tech systems talk to one another? And that's where you're really going to see the power of data connection.
Thanks so much, Rachel, for answering the question. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Rachel, there was a question from Robin about if Upace has a dashboard with the KPIs.
So with Upace in particular, and this is something that we could dive into, we have our virtual booth that's coming up next. So happy to dive into more of that, like at our virtual everyone's welcome to come in and we could share a little bit more, particularly how Upace are able to help and support that with our tools and our technology to help with using technology and data and connection. So happy to definitely explore that and dive a little bit further into our virtual booth, which I believe is coming up right after this presentation, Ty.
And I don't know if you passed over the question from Maura about, she said she was late. Is it best to design in-house questions? What's the best way to gather the data? Is it best to design in-house questions? I don't know if you see that question.
Not yet. So I see she said, what is the best way to gather this data? Is it best to design in-house questions? We're a small facility still operating with a small staff. So I think the best way is figuring out what are the key things to your JCC of how you want to connect and how you want to reconnect with members. You want to start with what makes the most sense for you of what you're able to do. So figure out what are the data points that are most crucial for you. And maybe that's just first understanding and wanting to do engagement. So a member checks in twice a week. That's going to be the data point that you're going to use to engage with them via email, for example, as a motivator. So think through that. What can you handle as a staffing perspective? And what's going to be most beneficial for the membership based upon what your internal goals might be. The goal could be to keep your members that you currently have. The goal could be to re-engage members who are on hold or who are canceled, or to try to gain new members out in the community. So to first think through, what is that overall goal? What type of data points do you need to reach that goal? And then what technology do you need in order to ensure that you can collect that data and automate the ways? But if you're definitely a small staff, I would think through a lot of automation type of tools and integration to make sure that you don't have to be looking at multiple places or have to have more work added onto your schedule. Carla mentioned in the chat, what tools are JCCs using to track member check-ins? So if any JCCs are willing to kind of add in what they're using currently to track member check-ins. Some of that could be CRM. Carolina just mentioned they do use Upace on their platform. David said ActiveNet. So feel free to keep putting in what you're currently using for any check-ins. So ask questions. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
Yep. Charlene was asking, how do you feel about experience surveys? So member experience surveys.
So member experience surveys, I think, are really great. And I think it's up to you of how often do you want to be sending out these types of member experience surveys to the community. I think it's really powerful when you're sending out surveys directly after a person has a visit at your facility of asking for a quick feedback, something that takes them no longer than 15 seconds to rank 1 to 5 and leave a comment, where you're always getting this constant feedback of how was their last visit at the JCC. I think member experience surveys could be something like once a quarter that you do send out of having that connection. And then you ask them particular questions or particular experiences that you could enhance upon, or what they might want to have more access to. Like, for example, maybe Rachel Riley, I'll call you out in the chat. Maybe you could highlight a little bit. They recently did a Kaplan JCC, a survey they went out to the whole community of understanding, one, how their community wants to continue to utilize tech, how many of their current members or the members on hold are saying they need virtual to remain and stay, but also asking questions about how do you feel about vaccinations and coming back, or how do you feel about shared swim lanes now instead of individual swim lanes? So thinking through what that member experience will be and having membership experience surveys that can go out to your current members and the ones that are on hold, of understanding what's going to take to bring them back in. And then you could understand a little bit further about how to best communicate with that and what technology that you'd need. Rachel just said she's happy to share the survey report with everyone with her email address, rriley@jccotp. That was something that we saw some really good insights and reports of what people are looking at in this next phase of pandemic, and people are coming back. So that would be a great example to reach out to her as well. So I think we have 15 minutes left, Bob and Steve.
That's correct.
Perfect. So what I want to take this time, and I know some people love breakout room people. I hate breakout rooms, so I could leave it up to the chat. If people want to do a breakout room or stay together all as a group, you could do like yes for breakout room or no to breakout room. And what I want everyone to connect and take this next like 10 to 15 minutes to talk about how you're using data today and what data do you need to collect in order to be moving forward. So thinking through the presentation and what we talked about today of what you can need as like that next step of taking these tools and tips of what you could bring to your JCC and start looking into that as the next step, as well as share what technology that you're currently using and what you're thinking about moving forward. So I see Howard said sure. So we had one person that said yes. Anyone else wants to give some insights into that? Also, I saw Chris just mention and put it into the chat. We put together an ebook of 6 latest strategies on how to leverage technology around member experience. So if you click on that link, it's going to take you to where you could download that ebook that also shares a lot of the tips and tools that we talked about today, as well as we're going to have this session recorded and we're going to share the presentation slides that you're able to provide as well. So I'm going to stop my screen share to be able to start the breakout rooms. I saw Carolina said she likes to hear what other people are doing. So I'm going to go ahead and be able to do that. Bob and Steve, I might need your host permission to trigger the breakout rooms, or Bob on your end, you might be able to do it.
I'm going to make you the host.
Perfect. All right, I am the host now. All right, we're going to trigger the breakout rooms starting right now. So it's going to prompt you to join that breakout room, and we'll have about 10 minutes and then we'll join back all together. All right, I think people are going into the breakout room. I know some have stayed with us in this whole group. So anyone who stayed in the whole group, feel free, you can hop off mute or hop off chat to be able to talk through it, or also put at.
I didn't get an invite for breaking out.
Oh, you didn't? All
I
right,
think a lot of people did, and someone's in the chat. Oh, now it is.
now
Okay,
it
here
did?
comes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for letting me know. All right, here we go. All right, I think it's working now. I'm seeing people joining in their breakout rooms.
Did you set a 10-minute time limit?
Yes, I'll track that.
Okay. And I need literally like 1 minute at the end. That's all. I don't have really much of a, close out. Just a announcement about the vendor hall. So.
Perfect. All right. Anyone that's still here in the main group, did you get the invite to the breakout room? And if not, you could always stay here with the whole group.
I got it, but I thought I'd come and hang out.
Perfect.
Here.
Yeah.
I'm new, so it was more of an informative. I don't feel like I have any value add to the discussion that was in there. So I figured it's not going to be too terribly helpful. So I requested from Chris I clicked on your bit.ly link so that I could download the 6 strategies to leverage. So
Perfect. Carla, what
that'd be my starting point.
Amazing. What do you do at the JCC?
I just started as the registrar.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, they started me off pretty nicely. You know, last week I got my COVID shot, so I spent half the week at home sick because I had a bad reaction. But then I start this week off with ProCon, so it's like great way to start off a new job.
Great. but very also exciting. Amazing. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, John.
We just came to bug you.
No, I love it. Thank you.
That's right. I wanted to go to your booth, but of course, like when we're in person, we're both busy at our booths at the same time. So,
I
we'll catch you in the bar later.
I know that's the hardest part. We can't like connect like in person or grab lunch. Hopefully at the next ProCon we'll be in person.
Indeed. And maybe we'll get you out here to the next Traction Rec conference too. You can come and set up a booth out here.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Next year, it'll definitely be in person. This year,
Yeah.
unfortunately
Even if we're all wearing hazmat suits, we're all going to be in person.
I'll take it. I'll come full mask and everything if that's what it takes.
You can get some customized hazmats, make it your own. What's your favorite
Absolutely.
team? Have your plastic designed with logos or sparkly rhinestones, whatever.
Love that. That is a
We'll
great
make
idea.
it work. Well, hopefully by then, I know Canada vaccines are a little bit different than here, but hopefully here by the summer months, a lot of people will be vaccinated, or at least the people that want to be vaccinated will get.
Well, they're the same, except they just cost 30% more and they apologize when they poke you in the arm. But other than that, they're both vaccines.
Oh, I don't think that they apologized when I got poked in the arm. So
Oh,
yeah,
they didn't?
that's
Okay.
they tell me just a small pinch, shove.
Well, I got AstraZeneca, so I got no arm pain because I didn't have an mRNA, which seemed to be giving all the arm pain. So
Okay. So you guys are vendors. Since we're not in your vendor hall, you've got my attention. Can I have your elevator speech?
go for it, Steph.
Absolutely. Hi, Carla. So you're from Raleigh, Cary, JCC. Is that in
Raleigh, North Carolina.
Raleigh, North Carolina? Love it. So we're in Canada. So we're we are a vendor. We are a product built on the Salesforce platform. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of Salesforce before.
Yep, used it before.
Yeah, amazing. So we built a product specifically for JCCs in conjunction with partners, JCC partners a couple of years ago. So we're actually a product built on the platform for all of your membership needs, programs, facilities, you name it. And we work really closely with Rachel at Upace and integrate with her for that more kind of the fitness related side of the house. So that's why we're here chatting with her.
Nice. Well, I know you said more for fitness relations. So more in our particular case, more of our adult programs. Does it specifically in line with fitness? I mean, can you use it for other things like we do, like book clubs, mahjong virtually? What's some other stuff that we've got going? They've done some trivia nights. Are those things that you can incorporate into their beyond fitness?
Yeah. What do you use right now? Are you a Daxco or Active, or what do you use today?
We're using DonorView for all of our non-camp related things, and then CampMinder for all the camp related stuff.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we've replaced DonorView and all the program registrations, all your membership sales, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
Facilities, facility rentals, etc.
Okay. Well, it's definitely something to consider. I mean, I don't want to rock the boat too much, but just coming in outside, new eyes, there are some quirks to DonorView that I'm not a fan of, and it's only been like 2 days that I've been training with DonorView. So I'll probably have to stop in your booth and gather all of your information to make my pitch.
Of course. Yeah, no, absolutely. Both Rachel and myself both have booths coming up. So yeah, feel free to bounce between the two and we can paint that connection for you. Ooh, I see.
Okay.
100%. And that's
And
the
we
beauty
work
of like
together with
Salesforce.
Rachel, so
You
we're
can do so
integrated
much.
with Rachel, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What was that,
Awesome.
John?
I said we're integrated with your solution, so they work together very well.
Yeah, we
Right.
better be.
Upace, I'm assuming there are individuals who use CampMinder for theirs. So is it easy to integrate the data from a second CRM into Upace in conjunction with their tool?
So with Salesforce and Traction, yes, because that's the power of Traction Rack is with Salesforce, which has the power of the APIs and the connectivity and to leverage data across the board. So it really depends upon your CRM provider and the technology provider you use. Some are open to integration, some not as much so.
You
So
totally
it's a
take that.
conversation particularly around like your
Fade it out.
technology, what you were able to do.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to close all the rooms and bring everyone back together. So all breakout rooms are closing now. So everyone should be starting to come back together as a group. So anyone is willing to share either on chat or hopping off of mute, something that they learned or something that they engage in the breakout session, that would be great so we can all learn from each other. I think we have another 38 seconds as people are coming back in.
It's interesting how people hang on until the last 2 or 3 seconds to finish their
I
conversation.
know, finish that last little tidbit of information, but that's a good thing. That's what all the virtual connections are about, you know, is making these connections in these rooms and bringing people back together. So I think there's 14 seconds and everyone's coming back together as a group. So just a couple more seconds here. So bear with me. Anyone that's coming back already, feel free to hop off of mute, share something that you learned or something that was surprising in these breakout rooms, or hop on the chat and just share something. We have about 4 minutes left, so just take a minute or two here. Anyone want to share something that they learned, either from another JCC colleague in off of mute or on the chat?
Don't everybody talk at once.
I'll share from our group. We kind of just went around and learned who's using Salesforce, NPSP, Traction Rec, who's not, why, and also talked a little bit about apps, who's using apps. And then your company came up, Rachel, and we talked a little bit about using Upace. And I think the bottom line is we're all making progress. This world of data is moving at an incredibly fast pace, but we're trying to keep us up as best as we can amidst a pandemic and also while serving our community.
100%. I think that's like the perfect segue, is that we all have to start somewhere. It's a step-by-step process. You can't necessarily do everything at once, but it's kind of taking these little tidbits of step 1, step 2, step 3 to get to this point. But it's all about that reimagining, that vision and that transformation of what you want, of how to best connect with members using tech and data. So it's a starting point. So we're excited again. Thank you so much for everyone for attending our session of day 3 of ProCon. I think we're hopping into our virtual booth hours somewhere after this. So if anyone has any questions about Upace or want to learn more, feel free to stop by our booth. I think Chris put the link directly in the chat. So again, thank you so much. It was wonderful to speak with all of you guys here today. So again, thank you so much for Bob and Steve from the JCC Association staff for coordinating our Zoom meeting. And so thank you so much for everyone. We hope everyone kind of leaves with a couple of tidbits of what you could take away from Monday. Feel free to always reach out to us with any questions that you might have, even beyond just anything about Upace, just using data. We want to see here at Serve, as we really believe in JCCs, and it's our mission to help you guys remain as the hub of the communities as you transition in this world of pandemic and getting out of this pandemic phase. So please use us as a resource. So Bob, I want to hand it back off to you.
Thank you, Rachel. That was fantastic. And it's such an important area for all member organizations. And I think that you're going to get it. This is a really well-attended session, and I think you'll get a lot of follow-up. So hope everyone enjoyed it. I just have one brief announcement before we end the session. A quick reminder that the virtual vendor hall will go live in 15 minutes and remain open from 1:45 until 2:45 today. Be sure to visit Rachel in Upace's booth during this time, where you can continue the dialogue discussed here today, explore resources and information, and ask any additional questions you might have. Thank you all so much for joining us today, and enjoy the rest of the conference.